Hello, everybody. I am Tiffany Smith, and I'm so excited to be here. I don't even feel like I need to intro this guy because we walked out and everyone started cheering already. Right now, I am joined by Sean Gunn. How you doing, sir?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. What's up, Chicago? It's nice to be here.
I told you, it's such a great welcome for you. I love it.
I used to live here. It's nice to be back.
Well, love for Chicago. I think what's something that's really cool about conventions in general is they keep getting bigger and bigger, and C2E2 in general. Every year, you guys start coming out even more and more. There's so many more fans here. What's the experience been like for you over the years?
Well, I'm glad to finally be here. I keep, for the last few years, people have asked me from time to time, when are you coming to C2E2? Are you coming this year? And I hadn't been here. So it's very, very cool to be here, and the fans have been great so far. I just started, but it's been really, really fun.
Well, this place has been awesome. All of the fans have been coming out, waiting, hanging out. Obviously, we have got Sean here, and we're going to be joined in just a little bit by another cast member from Guardians that I think you guys might know and love as well. For you guys, because you are such a great little family in the film, what is it like to kind of get to go around the country and around the world with the cast and just see all the fans in person?
It's awesome. I particularly love it when I know that Dave's coming because he's just one of my favorite people, and it's very, very cool when he shows up. It's not as fun when I know that Rooker's coming, so it was nice to hear that he was not coming. But it's true. I think that one of my favorite things about Guardians is that my brother does a really, really great job in vetting the actors, not just to be great actors, but to be great people.
Yep.
And we really are a very close-knit, family on set, and I legitimately love every one of those people.
Well, I feel like you did this on purpose, not even seeing him behind you, but he's like, I'm so excited when Dave comes. I get really pumped about it. So please welcome to the stage, Dave Bautista. Come on out here, sir. Hello, sir.
How are you?
How you doing? Good to see you. Just grab your mic right over there.
Got a mic there.
Hello, everyone.
Apparently we're playing some D&D later. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is a con, so we had to bring all of the nerdy things for you guys. We'll get to that a little bit later. But everybody's been here waiting. They were so excited to have you guys here to chat. We talked to Sean a little bit about this earlier, but just tell me a little bit about the journey from the first film coming out to being at the conventions now, where the second one came out, huge success, and you guys are right on the brink of Infinity War.
Well, that's a long conversation. That's quite a journey. I think when we first all started, I think it was one of those. It was kind of the mystery, the unknown. We didn't know how people were going to receive us. And even when I went in for the audition, I knew nothing about the Guardians. I knew zero about Drax. I had to research them and to find out. So I think it was one of those things where we were kind of holding our breath, and we were confident in it, but you never know until, that opening weekend, fans come out, and then it was so huge. I mean, it just really felt good. And we were really became such a close-knit group of friends, so it was that much more satisfying. Then going on, into the second film, people knew the characters, were in love with the characters. And also I have to say this, sorry, and I really do have ADD, so if I start jumping all over the place, you guys have to just bear with me, but I have to say this because Sean was Rocket in the first film. And he was there every day, and he just gave so much to us as a performer, and stuff that he really wasn't obligated to do. He just went, just far above and beyond what he was expected to do. And he dedicated himself to being Rocket, even though he wouldn't get, the praise that he should have. He wasn't going to get recognized for the role. But so to actually see people after the second film, people came be aware of that and acknowledge him for that, and also embrace him as Kraglin and see him get a bigger part in the film, so people would be able to acknowledge his performance. So it was really great to see.
I genuinely...
Sorry, I totally got off the subject and stuff.
No,
but I had to say that because that was part of really my journey watching. I really hated not seeing him get the praise that he should have, because he really made my performance in the first film what it was, because I couldn't have done it without him. So anyway, I just needed to get that off my chest.
Well, I have to say, just hearing you guys talk about, each other up here and the cast in general, there is just so much love that comes across. And I think that for me, hearing it, I'm like, does that build like a very comfortable zone for you guys on set to really play and get into that comedy stuff? Because I know, Dave, I actually got to interview the cast for the first film,
right.
And I talked to you and I was like, oh my God, you were so funny. And you were like, really? Like, I just felt like there was a little bit of like, did I do a good job? Is this what everybody wanted to see? And then now going into it, do you feel like you guys are just so comfortable that you're like, we'll try it all?
I mean, I think that a question I got a lot before the second movie was, do you feel more pressure now that the first movie was so successful? And I think we felt so much less pressure for the second movie. I remember just the table read for the second movie, going in and it being like, oh, this is great. It felt like going home again, and getting back into it. And yeah, I think that I think we are really comfortable with each other, particularly on set. So I'm really looking forward to the third movie for sure.
I could tell even from scenes from the first film I knew were early on for me, that from scenes that were later on in the film that I had become more comfortable. And for the second film, I was so comfortable with everybody. And also we had the luxury of James really writing specifically for us. A lot of the script was just tailored for us as performers. So I was like way more comfortable and just way less self-conscious. But there is always a bit of me that's always going to be self-conscious about my performance and always nitpick it and be insecure about it.
I mean, I think the reaction from the fans for Drax, for Rocket, for Kraglin, all of the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy, you should not have any nerves anymore because you guys all love them, right? Yeah? I think, too, there's certain moments, obviously, seeing it as an audience that we all crack up where it's, it's Mary Poppins, y'all. When you guys are on set, do you feel those moments when they happen as well?
Well, just like for Rooker?
Just for anybody where it's like, just like one of the random one-liners that fans really respond to. Do you guys know those moments? Can you feel it on set?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think I think that I think what Dave said was right. That I know that my brother particularly had an easier time writing the second movie because he hears people. You wrote the first movie with it not being cast. And then in the second movie, he was able to write specifically for Dave's voice and know, in his strengths. And yeah, I think a lot of times you don't know with 100% certainty. Like there's some things you find funny that get cut or don't work or whatever. But for the most part, there's a lot of, you can tell what a lot of the good lines are when you're on set.
Right.
Well, and I feel like we get to see so much of what you guys do, obviously, on the screen and then sometimes in the behind-the-scenes stuff as well. And James, I feel like, James Gunn, the director, your brother, has obviously become a character and a fan favorite. Being a director for the film as well, is there something that you guys can share?
He loves that.
I know. But, that's something that I don't think a ton of fans would know, but is there something that you can share about him as a director that maybe people would be surprised about?
That people would be surprised about. I think the thing about my brother is that he's good at keeping a loose, fun set, but within a very well-prepared and well-contained, bubble or something. I don't know how you'd put it exactly, but it's like it feels very free being on set, but it's also not chaotic. There's not like crazy hours all the time. It's not. He knows very specifically what he wants, which is always great, I think, for the actors.
Yeah, I don't know if people would be surprised by this, but I can tell you, from working with other directors, is James gets more excited than any other director I've ever met. He interacts that way. He gets excited. He gets a microphone. He starts yelling out stuff. And I've never ever heard a director also laugh so loud at the stuff that we're performing, stuff that he wrote. I guess because he wrote it and it was in his head, but now he's actually getting to see it. But when it's happened, you can hear him off set just laughing as loud as can be.
That's true. I know that's true.
And
I think it is a litmus test for him that he knows if it makes him laugh while he's watching it, that it's probably working and that it's and that it's funny.
And it's not a common thing.
Well, it makes me laugh because I'm like, I don't know which it's a testament to, either him being impressed by his own writing or your guys' performance with
Well,
what he's written.
That's what it is. I think he's the excitement. He's like like a little kid. He's just excited. I mean, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the really cool thing is, from getting to work in this group and being so comfortable and growing as actors and performers, that parlays into a whole bunch of other stuff and stepping into bigger and different things. And Dave, one of my favorite films was Blade Runner. So can you talk a little bit about working on that film?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great. It was, but it was so different, from the experience of Guardians. It was always very quiet. And like Denis is, he's not one to yell out things. He's not very boisterous. He doesn't. He does everything is very intimate. Everything's a one-on-one conversation. So it's just completely different. Just a much more serious film set, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's just much more quiet and just totally different tone. Yeah, really. But it was a close cast as well. It was a small cast.
Yeah.
There weren't really that many cast members in that, and I spent most of my time with Ryan Gosling, who I just love to death. I have nothing but great things to say. But this guy, he's like almost the exact opposite of Chris Pratt. Like Chris, you hear Chris walk in a room whether you want to hear him or not. He's usually saying something just absolutely ridiculous, and there's too many kids here. I won't blurt out his usual greeting, but it's pretty funny and obscene at the same time.
Yeah, he walks in.
Nice.
Pratt walks onto set singing or cheering or yeah, it's true. You can hear him coming.
Yeah, and everything out of Ryan's mouth is a whisper. He's just the most quiet guy you ever meet.
You're like, it just makes you want to get closer to him.
Right.
Well, and I think that's something too, obviously, with Infinity War coming and walking onto set and bringing the Guardians of the Galaxy, that energy to Infinity War. What was it like for you guys, and what can you talk about? Because I know there's so much that's hush-hush. I don't want to get too spoilery. I won't push you guys too hard, but what can you share with everybody about that film?
Nothing, I know.
He doesn't even say nothing into the microphone.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, I don't know. It was strange. It was weird to be on set with the Guardians and have different directors.
Yeah.
But great in its own way. It was a cool, different experience. I don't know. I worked with a bunch of new people, but I can't say who. So it's kind of a conversation killer right there.
Yeah, right. I can say this. That was one of my biggest fears, was that, because I didn't, I knew the Russo brothers from Civil War, which is by far one of my favorite Marvel films, but I wasn't familiar with them personally, and I didn't know. My fear was that they were going to try to make James Gunn's Guardians the Russo brothers' Guardians, and that I found out fast that wasn't the case at all. They really wanted us to be us. They really encouraged it. They really encouraged us to do business as usual, like the usual way, because we have a certain way that we do things. We have a certain interaction between us, and they just encouraged us to do that. And also we had the luxury of James Gunn writing for us.
Yeah.
So that really just helped a lot, and it just felt like business as usual. It felt more like because it's always us as a group. It's always the Guardians. It's always the Guardians. Yep. And it felt more like they were joining our cast instead of us joining their cast, because we always outnumbered them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gotta ask about this, because one of my favorite things when all of these superhero films come out are seeing the posters and the poses and the Marvel Universe photo that you guys did. What was that like, being in that photo, and how do you perfect the perfect superhero pose for a poster? I feel like it's one of the hardest
That's you,
things.
man. I wasn't on any of the posters.
I don't. I'm the worst. I'm not a good poser. I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good at it. But it was one of those things where, because I still, I think people lose sight that I'm still kind of new to this, and I am still very much a fanboy. So when I'm on set with that many movie stars, I would probably react like everybody else in this room, because it's just, to me, it's not like I'm not there thinking, oh, these are my peers. I'm thinking, oh my God, there's Michelle Pfeiffer standing over there. holy crap. Like, you know, just like totally just geeking out, you know?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Dave is that he's constantly saying these things that he's not good at, that he's awesome at.
Well, I feel like as far as posing like a superhero, all he has to kind of do is stand there.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, okay, done.
Yeah. But I always feel silly, and maybe it's because somewhere, you know, when I first started wrestling, I always thought, you know, the wrestling big guys you had to be a big guy, you had to be a big strong guy. And then somewhere along the line, somebody said, "Stop doing that. You look ridiculous when you're doing that. You know, whether you're flexing or not, you're still going to be, you know, 6'4", 300 pounds, and you look like a robot when you do that." So I just became very self-conscious of it, and always just tried to be kind of more loosey-goosey. And I'm naturally kind of a gangly person anyway, so I'm not good at that posing stuff. I'm just not.
Well, no one would ever guess that. We don't have too much time left with you guys, so I do want to get to that die on the table. So what I want you guys to do, it's a 20-sided die. We're not playing D&D, not today, but I totally would love to play with you guys sometime. But roll the die, and we've got a question that correlates to each number. If you roll a 1, because it's not a great number, it might be a little bit of a sillier question. If you get a 20, who knows? Who wants to go first? Sean,
I'll do it.
stepping up to the plate.
All right, here.
Oh,
20.
first roll and he gets a 20. Impressive. Okay, so the question is, and you guys can both answer it, it's Final Jeopardy and the scores are all tied. What are you hoping that the category is? Do, 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 do.
90s hip hop.
90s hip hop.
True.
Now I want to go to karaoke with you as well. It's true, Dave?
Yeah, he's a 90s hip-hop encyclopedia. It's insane. Like, it's crazy. Like, his knowledge of 90s hip-hop is crazy.
I think
I
what
love
we know what is going to be on mixtape number 3. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And Dave, for
I think
you,
me, it would be either movies or boxing.
boxing.
Yeah.
I like it. Movies or boxing.
Yeah.
What about boxing movies?
Yeah, that'd be like, that would be my dream category, yeah, for sure.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us.
Yeah,
thank you for
guys.
playing, for questions, and thank you guys all for coming out and chatting with us and hanging out to see these guys. Huge hand clap for
Thanks,
Sean
guys.
Gunn and Dave Bautista. And you guys, of course, go see Infinity War when it comes out.
Yeah.
And if you guys are hanging out, make sure you're using that hashtag C2E2 and hashtag It's a Fan Thing and follow on SYFY. Thanks, guys.
rolled
Stick
a
around because we've got
22.
so much more coming up.